Hey there, Aussie gardeners. March is here, and that means it's time to get your hands in the soil and set up your autumn garden. Whether you're in a warm temperate region like Sydney or Melbourne, or a cold temperate region like Canberra or Tasmania, there's still plenty you can plant to keep your garden going, even though that summer's over. Some of you are probably thanking God that summer's over. So stick around because I'll walk you through exactly what to plant, plus pro tips to make sure that your crops get the best start as the weather cools down. March is a transition month. The heat of summer's fading, but there's still enough warmth and light to establish cool season crops. And the good news is most of what you can plant in warm temperate areas can also be planted in cold temperate areas. There's just a couple of extra precautions that those of you in colder climates need to take. So let's break it down crop by crop. Throughout the video, I will refer to two types of trays that I use, size 72 and size 128 trays. Each individual cell within the 72 tray is about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches and 2 inches deep. The 128 trays have smaller cells measuring about 1 inch by 1 inch with a depth of 2 inches. Root crops are the first vegetables that we're going to go through, and they grow well in cooler months. So this is a prime time to get them in the ground. Okay, carrots. Direct sow them closely together in rows and then thin them out once the seedlings emerge. Carrots that are transplanted tend to be twisted and deformed, so it's best to plant them directly in the soil. Radishes and turnips. So 3 or 4 seeds per cell and then transplant them in bunches. Either size 72 or 128 cells work fine. It depends entirely on how long you want to keep your plants in the cell before moving them outdoors. When it comes time to harvest, pick the largest in the bunch first, allowing the others to catch up and take up that space to keep growing. Beetroot. Similar to turnips, I plant 3 or 4 seeds per 72 cell tray and let them grow in small clusters. Fennel is a great cool weather crop if you like the taste of licorice, and 72 cell works great for those. Okay, now we have leafy greens. Cool season greens grow fast, making them a great option for continuous harvest, and they save a lot of money. Salad mixes are expensive. So kale, silver beet, and spinach. I sow 2 to 3 seeds per cell and then thin after germination. These are hardy crops, so they will grow well into winter. I find that kale and silver beet need more time in cells and do better in 72s, while spinach does great in 128s. Okay, rocket and lettuce. These seeds are tiny and I find them tricky to handle, so I recommend sowing them in a small nursery pot, 3 or 4 inches across. Once the seedlings develop deep green color, their first two cotyledons, the first 2 green leaves, prick them out and transplant them into individual 128 cells. Cabbage and kohlrabi. If you want cabbage heads before winter, this is your last chance to sow. Start them in 72 cell trays indoors, then transplant once established. Broccoli can be planted the same way, but I sow 2 or 3 seeds per cell and then thin them after germination. Kohlrabi might do well in clusters, but like beets, but I'm not sure. I've never actually done it that way. I'll be experimenting with that this year. Broad beans and legumes. Broad beans love cool temperatures, making March the perfect time to plant them. Broad beans, even though these seeds are large, I start them in 72 cell trays and transplant them once they reach 3 to 4 inches tall. You can also direct sow them if you have well-prepared soil. Either way, soak the beans overnight before planting them, and that'll speed up germination and give you a head start. Peas for shoots. Peas are a great nitrogen-fixing plant, just like fava beans, broad beans, meaning that they improve soil quality while they grow. And I like to plant them as cover crop while my main crop is establishing and cut them later. Check out this video for more information on nitrogen fixers. Now we have herbs and perennials. Rosemary, a hardy, drought-resistant herb that thrives in herb. Well, you guys say herb. I always forget. I'm not even sure. I think I say herb. And then I try to think the other way that doesn't sound right to me. I don't know. Rosemary is a hardy, drought-resistant herb that thrives in warm and cold temperate regions. Plant now, as it'll be well established before winter. Coriander and parsley. Parsley takes a long time to germinate, so be patient. I plant them in a mass nursery pot and then separate and transplant them once they sprout. Coriander prefers cooler weather, so autumn is the best time to grow it. Once the seedling's first pair of leaves have turned a healthy green, prick them out and plant them in 128 trays. Globe artichokes. These are a long-term investment. These take time to establish, but will produce for years once they mature. Typically, artichokes yield a small crop in the first year with larger harvests later in later years. Mature plants can produce up to 12 flower buds per season and should be divided every 4 to 5 years to maintain vigor. With proper care, individual artichoke plants can live up to 15 years or more. Therefore, planting globe artichokes requires patience initially, but offers a rewarding harvest over many years to come. Avocado saplings. If you want homegrown avocados, March is the best time to plant saplings. Choose a sunny, well-drained location and protect them from strong winds. If you're in a cold temperate regions, keep your avocado tree in a pot so that you can move it inside during harsh weather. Unfortunately, I have no experience growing avocados. I wish I could grow them where I live, but it just doesn't work out. If you want to plant these, I recommend watching avocado-specific videos. So here's some pro tips for a thriving garden. Sow leafy greens in succession. That means every 2 to 3 weeks so that you can get a continuous harvest. Use mulch to lock in moisture and keep the weeds suppressed. Protect your plants from extreme heat. In warmer regions, even though the summer's over, you can still get some pretty intense heat. You want to protect your plants. Put them in the shade. Use shade cloth. That works great. In colder regions, protect with row covers or fleece to keep the frost off and insulate a little bit. A little bit helps, even if you're just taking out the wind. March is a powerful planting month. Whether you're in a warm or cold temperate Australia, there's plenty of variety to grow, from nutrient-packed greens to hardy root crops. If you're in a warm temperate region, take advantage of the lingering warmth to establish greens, root crops, and brassicas. If you're in a cold temperate zone, this is your best chance for cabbages, and now is the time to prepare your garden for the chill ahead. With the right plants and a little planning, you'll set yourself up for a productive and rewarding season. If this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new for more gardening content. And before you go, tell me in the comments what you plan on planting this March. I'd love to hear what's growing in your garden. I can't wait to chat with you in the comments. Happy gardening, and I'll catch you on the next one.